There's a kind of phrase that doesn't just reach her ears, it lingers like a soft touch running down her spine. Most women have heard the usual words, baby honey, sweetheart. But when you say something different, it doesn't sound like another nickname. It feels like a spark. It feels like warmth. It makes her body lean in before her mind even realizes why. And once you understand how to use that kind of phrase, she won't just hear your words, she'll feel them. You don't need tricks. You don't need magic or rehearsed lines. What you really need is meaning. Because when a man speaks with honesty, with calm confidence and perfect timing, he doesn't just get a woman's attention for a moment. He leaves a mark. He doesn't just reach her thoughts, he touches something much deeper, something inside her body, her heart, her emotions. He becomes a memory that lingers quietly, that doesn't fade when the moment ends, but stays alive in her mind. Let that truth sit with you for a second. Feel it as you breathe. Somewhere along the road, maybe someone made you believe a lie. Maybe you were told that to keep a woman's attention, you have to act a certain way. They said, be smoother, be cooler, tell more jokes, look sharper, fake confidence, hide your real side. They gave you strategies, tricks, lines, and performances that looked perfect from the outside. Yet, here you are still wondering, why doesn't it work? Why do I do everything right and still go unnoticed? Think about it. You've seen women who talk endlessly, but leave no impact. They speak, but no one's really listening. Then you meet another kind of woman. She says only a few words, but when she does, the whole energy of the room changes. Heads turn, people listen. Everyone feels her presence. That isn't luck, that's skill. That's what mastery looks like. That's the power of a woman who understands her energy and her voice. She doesn't guess. She doesn't hurry. She speaks from her center, from something steady inside her. And that's exactly what you can learn too. Before we go further, pause for a moment. If you're listening or watching this, hit like, subscribe, whatever it takes to show you're ready. Do it because you're done with being ignored. Because if you've ever felt like you're doing everything right, but she still doesn't really see you, what comes next might be the change you've been waiting for. Now imagine this. You're standing by a calm lake early in the morning. The water is smooth like glass. You bend down, pick up a small pebble, and drop it gently. That tiny pebble makes ripples that move across the whole surface. That's exactly what strong words do. They don't need to be loud or flashy. They just need to be real. They carry presence. They whisper, but they echo long after you've walked away. But what do most men do? They pick up big rocks and throw them. They shout across the water. They keep tossing storm after storm of words, hoping something lands, but it doesn't. Because the real secret isn't in how many words you use. It's in their vibration, their emotion, their rhythm. Here's something most people never realize. The subconscious mind, the place where true attraction lives, doesn't listen to logic. It responds to energy, to rhythm, tone, and feeling. K.L. Jung once said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you'll call it fate. That's not only about self-awareness, it's also about relationships because a woman doesn't fall for you because you explained yourself clearly. She falls when you awaken something in her that she can't name. Something that makes her think of you when you're not around. Something that skips logic and lands directly in her memory. The issue isn't that you don't try hard enough. It's that you've been trying with the wrong tools. You ask her, how was your day? She says, good. You follow up, what do you do for work? She gives a short reply, then silence. Nothing connects. Why? Because your words didn't reach deep enough. They didn't touch her soul. And listen, it's not your fault. You were taught to perform, not to connect. You were trained to impress, not to truly move someone. But that can change starting today. Once you learn to speak with impact, not just sound, but emotional timing and honesty, everything changes. When you know not only what to say, but how to say it, when to say it, and how to mean it, something shifts. You stop blending in, you stand out. You're noticed, not because you're loud, but because you're calm, centered, grounded. People can feel you, she can feel you, and in that instant, you become unforgettable. You don't need dozens of clever lines. You don't need to talk constantly. You just need a few words spoken with presence, with a tone that's calm yet strong. You need grounded energy. The kind that makes a woman pause mid thought and wonder quietly, who is he? That's not pickup artistry. That's poetry. That's not manipulation. That's magnetism. It's emotional intelligence expressed through presence. When you speak with meaning instead of noise, you stop chasing attention. It starts coming to you naturally. Because here's a simple truth: the human mind doesn't remember plain words, it remembers energy. It remembers tone, rhythm, and how the moment felt. It's not the exact line she remembers, it's the feeling she had when you said it. Write this down somewhere. People forget what you said, but they never forget how you made them feel. That's not just a nice quote, it's a fact, especially with women. She might not recall your exact words, but if something in your voice touched her in a raw and genuine way, she'll keep that moment in her heart long after it's over. Picture this. You is walk into a dark room full of balloons. Every balloon has the same dull words written on it. Hey, how are you? Just checking in. The whole room feels flat and lifeless. Now imagine you don't bring another balloon. You bring a candle. You light it. And suddenly, every eye turns to that soft, glowing flame. That's what your energy does when it's real, when it's intentional, not fake or rushed. Here's the truth: many men hold back from speaking deeply because they're scared. Scared they'll be misunderstood, scared they'll sound too serious, too emotional, too much. So they stay safe. They play small. They send another "what's up" message. Harmless, easy, and completely forgettable. But safe never leaves a mark. Presence does. You weren't made to blend in, you were made to awaken something inside her. But you were taught to stay polite, quiet, not stir the waters. But polite doesn't spark desire. Polite doesn't live in memory. Presence does. Emotion does. When your words create pictures. When they tell small stories, when they open her imagination, she doesn't just hear them, she feels them. You stop being just a line of text or another face she forgets. You become a sensation she craves again. Not because of what you said, but because of the energy in your voice and the truth behind your words. So from now on, make this your standard. No more empty talk. No more surface level small talk just to fill silence. Every word you say, every message, every note, let it come from the real you. Not the version you think she wants, not the polished, careful version. Just you, real, grounded, alive. Stay close, because what comes next goes even deeper. We're going to explore how to create moments with words that don't just catch her attention for a second, but hold it long after. Words that settle in her chest and echo in her thoughts. The kind that pass through logic and settle straight into memory. This is where real connection begins. Let's talk about one simple phrase, just 3 words. 3 small words that can change everything. You and me. Sounds simple, right? Nothing fancy, nothing dramatic. But don't let that simplicity fool you. Those 3 words aren't random. They create an image, a spark, a sense of shared possibility. You and me isn't a line. It's a mirror. It's a reflection, a soft opening. Say it now. You and me. It sounds ordinary. And that's why it works. Real power hides in small moments. Sometimes it's not the big speeches that move people. It's the quiet words that slip directly into their heart. When you say you and me, you're not asking for anything. You're not begging or forcing. You're simply planting a seed, offering a vision. And here's what most men don't realize. The female mind, especially the emotional part that drives attraction, doesn't respond best to long explanations. It responds to emotion, imagery, suggestion. Picture this. You're sitting across from her, the mood light and playful. Instead of saying, "I like talking to you," you lean in slightly, smile, and say, "You and me could have dangerously good conversations." Boom. You didn't flatter her. You didn't try hard. You didn't ask for anything. You built an image. You painted a world that didn't exist before that moment. Maybe you add, "You and me, we'd win any argument, especially if we're on the same team." Feel that? It's not cheesy. It's not pressure. It's effortless, light, yet full of meaning. A moment like that isn't just a pause, it's an invitation. It's a door opening. Maybe a small voice in your mind whispers, "Is that too much?" What if she doesn't react? What if she thinks I'm strange? But here's the truth you need to remember. You're not saying it to guarantee a reaction. You're saying it to leave a mark. And impressions like that don't fade fast. They stay alive in her imagination, even if she doesn't show it right away. Because this isn't about chasing anyone. It's about standing fully in your own presence. That's what true confidence feels like. That's what real magnetism looks like. Those are the kinds of moments that make a woman stop for a second, not because she feels any pressure, but because for the first time in a while, she senses something different, a small spark of possibility she didn't expect. So, next time the energy feels right, don't hesitate. Don't shrink back into safety. Don't hide behind silence because you're scared to say the wrong thing. Drop the spark, drop the mirror, speak it with calm, grounded confidence. Say it lightly, but let it have depth. You and me. It's not a trick or a pickup line. It's a doorway. It's an opening to connection. And it's only the beginning. Those words are more than just a phrase. They're a reflection of how you see yourself. They don't land because they sound smart or smooth. They land because of the energy behind them. When you say them slowly, without neediness or hurry, they carry something deeper. The unspoken message is simple but powerful. I'm not waiting to be chosen. I already know I am the choice. Remember what Jung said: the unconscious is attracted to clarity, to symbols, to certainty. When your energy carries that belief, you stop being just another guy with good lines. You become the symbol. You become that one steady flame in a room full of flickering candles. People who hesitate, who second guess us, who shrink when things get real. You become the lighthouse in her storm. Think about it this way. You've probably heard someone say, "Do you maybe want to hang out sometime?" Listen to that tone. That's not confidence, that's hesitation. That's someone asking for permission even though the door's already open. That's someone unsure of their own value. Now turn it around and try this. Instead, you and me should check out that new place downtown. That's presence. That's not a request. That's an invitation spoken from calm certainty. That's leadership. That's energy. And if she's tuned into you, she'll feel it instantly and flow with it naturally. Ask yourself, do you want to be remembered as the man who always tiptoed around what he wanted, who played it safe, who hid behind politeness? Or do you want to be remembered as the man who said something so simple yet unforgettable that it made her heart skip for a second? Because here's what really matters. Your energy tells the whole story. You could say all the right words, but if you deliver them like you're hoping they'll work, they lose their power. But if you speak with the quiet, knowing that you're already enough, that your presence alone has value, everything changes. That's when she looks at you differently. That's when her eyes soften and she thinks he's not like everyone else. This isn't about being louder. It's about being deeper. It's not about being forceful. It's about being in alignment with yourself. That's what real masculine strength looks like. It doesn't need to shout. It doesn't need to prove anything. It just stands calm and certain, speaking with quiet power that pulls others in effortlessly. So stop waiting for an invitation. Be the invitation. The moment you stop trying to prove your worth and instead speak like someone who already knows it, everything shifts. That's when you stop being ignored, ghosted, or forgotten. That's when you start being felt, not just in that moment, but long after. Now let's talk about timing. The razor thin edge where most men stumble. They don't fail because they say the wrong words, but because they say them at the wrong time. Timing isn't a detail, it's everything. Timing is sacred. When you learn to express truth without creating pressure, you'll notice how her energy changes. She'll lean in, she'll actually listen because you're not just talking, you're connecting. Your energy always enters the space before your words ever do. You could have the perfect line, but if it's spoken with tension in your body or a shaky voice, it dies before it ever lands. That's the truth most people avoid because it means you can't hide behind rehearsed words or cleverness. It means your whole presence, your eyes, your tone, your posture is what carries the real message. You could say you and me 100 times, but if your voice wavers, if your eyes dart away, if your body silently screams, "Please like me," it won't work. Not because the words are wrong, but because the energy behind them isn't aligned. Now, picture this. One man says, "You and me would make a dangerous team." But he says it with closed off arms, eyes down, voice unsure, almost hoping she'll approve. Another man says the same exact words, but his shoulders are relaxed, his eyes steady, his tone calm, and there's a soft smile that quietly says, "I'm good either way." Whether she agrees or not, his energy is whole. Same phrase, two completely different experiences, and you already know which one stays in her mind. Calm confidence is magnetic because it's rare. It feels grounded and safe. Most people don't know how to simply be present. They only know how to perform, but energy never lies. It always reveals whether you're standing in your power or reaching from emptiness. You can dress sharp and talk smooth, but the truth beneath always comes through. Real strength doesn't come from force. It doesn't come from trying harder. It comes from stillness. Look her in the eyes, not with need, but with steady presence. Sit or stand in a relaxed way, not to impress, but because you already know your value. That stillness you feel when you stop chasing or overthinking is your hidden advantage. Let it wrap around your words, let it give them weight. When you say something meaningful, pause. Let silence do its work. That's when your words land deep. That's when they stay. We should stop calling it confidence. What it really is alignment. When your words and your energy match, when your inner truth matches your outer voice, she doesn't just hear you, she feels you. That's the difference between something she forgets and something she remembers long after. Now let's come back to timing, the part most men never master. When do you say it? Too early and it feels like pressure. Too late and the spark fades. But when you say it at the perfect moment, you're not talking to her mind anymore. You're waking up her curiosity. You're creating an emotional imprint. Here's the secret. Don't rush. Don't drop your best line into a moment that isn't ready. A wise man doesn't talk for attention. He waits for the window. And in real connection, that window is everything. You could have the perfect energy, the most natural tone, but if you throw out you and me too soon, it won't feel exciting. It'll feel forced, and pressure kills attraction faster than anything else. If you say it too early, she steps back. If you repeat it too often, it loses its spark. The magic disappears. It's not just what you say, it's when you say it. The right time is when the flow feels easy. The laughter comes naturally, and she's leaning closer without realizing it. That's when you drop it softly, like it belongs there. Not forced, not loud, just placed gently into the moment, like setting down a candle. Picture this. She's talking about her favorite street food spot. You smile and say, "You and me should check that out. Let's see if it's really as good as people say." That's it. No pressure, no heavy pause, just a picture painted in her mind. You didn't ask, you suggested, and then you let it go. You didn't hold on to it, waiting for a reaction. You trusted the moment to carry itself. That's attraction. It's not a shout or a chase. It's a quiet ripple that lingers. Most men ruin it by gripping too tightly, by trying to pull a reaction. But the man who knows his worth says it and then lets it breathe. He understands the power of release. He knows that sometimes she won't react right away, but later, maybe when she's alone driving home, it hits her. You and me would make a dangerous team. She smiles without realizing why. It stays with her. That's not manipulation. That's meaning. That's resonance. That's a quiet echo that moves through her thoughts long after you've gone. And the beauty of it is, if she truly feels it, you'll never need to repeat it. You'll already exist in her memory. A man like that doesn't just leave a mark. He leaves a symbol, a small story that lives beneath her thoughts. He doesn't try to be remembered. He becomes unforgettable, simply through his calm, presence, his tone, and the way he lets go. So don't chase reactions. Don't study her face for signs of approval. Speak like someone who knows his words already hold power, especially when he gives them space to breathe. The silence after isn't empty. It's alive. It's where your words sink in. It's where she actually feels them. That's the difference between someone who performs and someone who connects. A man who's truly confident doesn't run from silence. He welcomes it. He lets his words hang in the air like music. He lets them echo and expand because he knows the right phrase spoken with the right tone and energy can live in someone's mind for days, sometimes weeks. And that's where real transformation begins. It's where your words stop being tools for attention and start becoming symbols that carry